Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, A Time with Dr. P. If you're an OG here, welcome back. If you're new on this channel, consider subscribing, join the family. Trust me, you're going to enjoy this channel and you're going to learn something. We're privileged again to have Dr. Hamzat here with us. He asked us the last time that whenever we need him, we should call him, and here we are. Welcome, Mr. Hamzat.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you. So Dr. Hamzat saw the last video I did on cost of immigrating to Canada, and he said he would like to shed more light. With all pleasure. And so that's why he's here today. I'm going to be asking him a couple of questions. If this is what you want to see, sit back, relax, don't go nowhere. Okay, welcome back. Thank you again, Dr. Hamzat, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so the first question he would like to shed more light on is the issue of proof of funds.
Yeah.
So you watched the video and you said you would like to, throw in, some points about the proof of funds.
On the proof of fund.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, the proof of fund. You see, the proof of fund is the money you actually need to be in your account when you are applying to come to Canada.
Okay.
So it comprises of your tuition fee, your living funds in Canada.
Okay.
What you need to survive in Canada. You need to rent a house, eat, feed, look at transportation, probably buy books.
Okay.
So those are the funds that you should have in your proof of fund.
Okay.
It's just like an estimate of what it will take you to live in Canada for 1 year.
Exactly.
And to pay your tuition.
That's what I was going to ask, because most of the programs are between 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, are you saying that all of this money should be in the account at once? Because that's a lot of money we're talking about.
Well, if you can have for that 2 years, it's okay. But I think the minimum you should have is the money that will take you for 1 year. So your tuition for 1 year and the living funds for 1 year is actually what you should have in the account.
Okay.
For that proof of fund.
Proof of funds.
And again, it could be your fund. If you are sponsoring yourself, you have to have that in your account so that your proof will not be your statement of account. But if you are being sponsored, it's your sponsor that should have that amount in his or her account, so that he will now provide your proof of fund.
So the applicant would get the sponsor's statement.
Yeah, statement of account. That will serve as the proof of fund if you are being sponsored.
Okay. I know I had mentioned in the previous video that we're talking about tuition fee of roughly about 15,000, as the case may be, for 1 year, in addition with the living expense, which I said 10,000 for a whole year.
10,000 will not carry it, because if rent alone can take you that 10,000 for a year, because you could get rent for up to 650 per month. If you do the math, you see that is almost taking the whole of the 10,000 per year. So you just basically maybe about 15,000 Canadian dollars will be enough for 1 year for proof of fund for living cost alone. For living,
so if you add your tuition, we're looking at 30,000 Canadian dollars.
Thereabout.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And then throwing a little bit more light on this living expense. Apart from the accommodation, which you just talked about, from your stay in Canada, what else would you say, they should consider when, getting funds for living expense?
Yeah, it's transportation. Transportation is there. I know that if you're a student, there's a card you get so that you use a transit, which is a bus service. You can use that to go around, so it's a kind of subsidized.
Okay.
But if you're not a student, you have to pay for transportation yourself.
Either you get your car, or
you're
Ubering here and there.
Thank you. So that's another thing that is there. Then in Canada, people eat a lot out. You eat a lot out. You have different kiosks, eateries.
So bring your money.
So most of the time you don't. In Nigeria, back in Nigeria, we just cook. But here, because you are a student, most of the time you take lunch in school. So you have to factor all those things in. So that will be part of your living expenses.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have done justice to the issue of proof of funds. And then another question I have been getting since I put that video out is about qualification. So individuals with HND, OND, they're asking, where do I stand? Where's my place in all of these applications?
Yeah, if you have HND, you can, on rare occasions, you can get a master's admission. That's
rare occasion.
Yeah, very rare, because
okay.
If you want to get that, which means you have probably a professor that will take you on for masters, you have to send that professor your transcript, send him probably your statement of result statement, your transcript, and your CV, because he has to know what you've been doing, maybe immediately after you got your HND. So that's on rare occasions. But my best bet,
I was going to ask, so what is more? What do they stand to get more?
Most likely, what you get is a postgraduate diploma. That's your route. That's your admission. That will be very, very key for you.
Okay.
It's your best bet. If you have HND, you could do postgraduate diploma, which is like what even people that have first degree third class do here. So you can also go down to say, okay, probably you want to just do the ordinary diploma, which means you use your school certificate to get your admission.
So what would you say about OND?
Well, OND, you are not a graduate yet.
Because I get a lot of people with OND saying, I want to, immigrate.
OND is just like what a school cert would do get in Canada, is what you get.
Wow.
The reason being that you're not a graduate yet, so you can't do a postgraduate
makes sense.
Yeah, so what you do when you have OND is to probably do a diploma.
Okay.
Using your school certificate result.
So that's like saying, so that's like WIEC, because
use your WIEC to do
so someone who has WIEC, that's the same process they should take.
The same process. It's just that if you are a matured person, you could also
that was going to be my next question.
Use the WIEC to get admitted. You do a diploma. But one caveat for those people that are a bit advanced in age.
When you say a bit advanced, what age are we talking about?
Maybe if you are 50 or you are 40, it's a bit old.
40 is young.
They say life begins at 40.
Yes, 40 is young.
If you are 40, what then happens is that your school cert should not be older than 20 years ago that you got it. Because it's not like there's a law that says that when your school cert is more than 20 years that you cannot get.
But you're just putting 2 and 2. Like how are you 40 and you don't have?
Thank you. They just feel that 20 years ago is too old for you to still be carrying your WIEC as your highest qualification. So when you are using WIEC, make sure that it's not up to 20 years that you wrote
you got the WIEC last. Okay.
So that's your best bet to get admitted if you are using your WIEC.
Okay, I hope we're doing justice so far to all of these questions. And then I also want you to shed some light on, cost of some of the things that I had talked about, like passport, police certificate, submission cost.
Like the preliminary cost while you are still in Nigeria.
So let's go one after the other. So the first one is like international passport. What's the recent cost of the international passport?
Yeah, the passport, international passport, it ranges from between 45 to 50,000. That's the official rate.
Okay.
But if you want to expedite it, you could spend more. But I know that recently that the government has done a lot. You don't need to.
So it's readily available now, because I know they were saying no booklets, no this, no.
In recent past there was no booklet, but that's what I hear now, that they've really
done just okay, cool.
Improved on it. So what you spend now should be probably in the neighborhood of 50,000. But children can still use maybe 40, 45 to do the application for passport.
Okay. And then the next one here is the police character certificate.
The police character certificate also range from 40 to 50,000.
Okay.
Officially, I think it's about 44.
What is police character certificate anyway?
Yeah, it's just to show that you're not a criminal back in Nigeria. So just to
clear your name,
clear your character, that you are of good character. So it just basically they take your fingerprint. You fill some forms, you show them a data page of your international passport, they give you one small paper that is called the police certificate. They also give you the document where you have your fingerprints, the 10 fingerprints will be there. So that's basically a police character certificate. But one thing you should know is that certificate is only valid for 6 months.
So
you have to bear in mind.
So you have to go somewhat into your application before you do it.
Because sometimes your application to come to Canada can stay for about 3 months before it's approved. So immediately before you submit your application, that's the best time to actually apply for the police character certificate.
Okay. And then the next one here says submission cost for visa application. What's the cost, average cost?
When you are processing your visa application, after filling in everything, you need to submit. So at the point of submitting it, that's when you need to pay.
Okay.
And you pay the fee for the visa itself is $150 Canadian.
Okay.
But because you need to also do biometrics, if
yes,
you have
I
not
was
done
going
it
to
before,
ask that. Yes.
If you have not done it before, you have to add another $85 Canadian.
So you're saying the cost for biometrics is $85
Canadian.
Okay.
Then plus the 150 becomes $235 Canadian that you need to submit if you have not done your biometrics. And the biometrics is also valid for some number of years.
Oh my goodness.
If you have done it, but it's a bit
yes,
more
but I know at least that's more reasonable. That's like 10 years.
It's 10 years.
Yes.
If you have done biometrics before, you
for
don't need to
any
do
Canadian process, it's valid for 10 years.
Except that when you now come to Canada and probably want to become a citizen,
you have to do another one.
You have to do another one. Even if you did your biometric last year, you need to do biometrics again for application for Canadian citizenship. So
okay, I'm sure everybody will be excited to do that biometrics at that
point.
point.
That's why I just chipped it in, because anybody coming here, I know that ultimately they want to be a citizen.
Yes. And then lastly, we have here the cost for medical examination. So medicals.
Your medical is just mandatory for study permit and work permit. If you are just applying to go to Canada as a visitor, for the visitor's visa, you don't actually need
to do medicals. Okay.
But it's always good to do it in any case, because maybe when you come here as a visitor, you now want to transit to another visa,
which is
it's better to just do it.
Most times that's the case.
It's better to do it in Nigeria.
And I think it should be cheaper.
Yeah, the cost ranges for an adult is about between 50 and 60,000 if you're an adult, but if you're a child, it's actually less than 50 and 60,000.
Okay.
So that's for the medicals. And it's good to do it. It's also good to do it. That one too is valid for. That's also valid for about 10 years.
10 years. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So when you come in my DM or in my emails and say, what does it cost to immigrate to Canada? It is a difficult question because each case is peculiar. So there's no one answer. You know, some people may have this done already. You know, some may have done biometrics for whatever the reason is. And, you know, so it's a difficult question. But holistically, I know it is not a cheap process.
True.
It's very capital intensive. So you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. Thank you again, Dr. Hamzat.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank
you for what you are doing. I know you are really impacting a lot of lives.
Thank you
may
so
think that
much.
this thing you are doing is a small thing, but it goes a long way. There are people that need this information. Thank you for putting it out there.
Thank you so much. And thanks for always being with us to, educate us and share all the light.
I know I'll come again.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And until we come your way again, this is Dr. P and Dr. Hamza signing out. Bye-bye.